2026, and you're listening to the Tech Addicts podcast. Brace yourself. This week, cutting your own vinyls, the Lenovo Tab Plus Gen 2, new rules to protect children online, Microsoft Teams reporting your Wi-Fi connectivity, a new media player for Windows 11, and more on Microsoft killing off Office 2021. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts podcast. It's me, Gareth, and I'm back with Ted for another rising technological chit-chat covering whatever we find interesting in the world of tech over the last week. And Ted, are you there?
I am, and I would like to start, unusually, with a weather forecast. Because it looks like the ridiculously hot week ahead that the south of England are getting is going to make it up to North Wales, and I'm very unhappy about it. I'm going to have to close up where I live and go and stay at Dad's house, I think, because it's going to just be intolerable. So hopefully it won't get as far as Northern Ireland, but in North Wales, yeah, it looks like we're going to be sucked in. Mind you, it's a few days yet, so they might change their minds.
What you actually meant was, I want to start the podcast with a moan.
Yeah,
okay.
Whinging, moaning, idiotic people that can't have anything positive to say ever, and they're doing bloody podcasts.
You're echoing the comments right now. Yes, no, the weather is upon us, and it's wonderful. I've got a wee list of jobs that I have to do in the garden. I started them yesterday. The shed is all painted with creosote. It looks well. It's a nice darkish, blackish, browny type thing, affair going on. Looks really nice. Even the wife went, "Ooh, don't that look nice?" Sorry, I refer to her as the wife there. I do apologise. I won't do that again.
Objectifying your wife?
Absolutely.
Disgrace.
Yes, can't do that. But yes, today is the windows need to be cleaned. So that I can look through them and actually see the world for what it is.
You don't want to bother
and I
with
have to
that.
pick up the palm tree leaves. Yeah.
I do. I was just reflecting in my windows that not once have I ever cleaned my windows in this van in 6 years. Not once. When the rain comes, it cleans it nicely for me, and I don't care about streaking. I think it's a woman thing.
Well, the police care about streaking. You should try and avoid doing that. But if the windows are that dirty, no one's going to notice anyway. So,
yeah, exactly.
Well, we've got tons to talk about this week, so let's just mosey in, because on the show this week we've got the Teenage Engineering APC2, which is a professional vinyl cutter.
We have another look at the Lenovo Tab Plus Gen 2.
The UK government is launching new online safety regulations for children.
Microsoft Teams rolls out Wi-Fi based location tracking.
Microsoft has a new media player that is facing a large amount of criticism for high resource usage and limited codec support.
And more on Microsoft ending support for Office 2021 and pushing everyone to subscribe to Microsoft 365.
Wow, it's all very negative against Microsoft. This podcast is not sponsored by Linux.
Certainly not Microsoft.
Well, yeah, that's true. They're making some big changes and decisions that could ultimately affect their
credibility.
The general all-round demeanour, I suppose. Right, okay, well, we'll start with Teenage Engineering, who's unveiled the APC2, which is a professional-grade vinyl cutter that allows users to physically create their own records by burning digital music directly to vinyl. Ted, this sounds quite exciting. Are you going to start your own label?
It sounds completely bonkers, doesn't it? Because how would you? The one of the good things about buying out records on vinyl is that you get the the original kind of quality of the original taped stuff. Mind you, I suppose these days you don't. It's going to be all digital, isn't it? I was going to say that the only way you could, even if you bought one of these machines, I dread to think how much money. You would still have to get the source material from somewhere. Now, they're saying that you can use digital audio and just do it yourself. But, okay, so you get a bit of vinyl, a bit of plastic, and you stick it in this thing, and it heats it up, and it cuts it, and it does it all beautifully from your MP3 file. I suppose if you were going to do this, you would have to make sure you got really, really high quality files to do it from. I can't imagine. Who is this aimed at, I wonder? It doesn't give a price here, does it? But I can't imagine your average Joe like me, however much you like vinyl and records. I just can't imagine someone like me doing this just for the fun of it, just to make a record from your digital files. So who's it for? Someone making a record label, starting up? Doesn't feel as though it's professional enough for that to me. It's a small kind of... Anyway, what are your thoughts?
Well, I first of all thought this would be useful for people who want to make their own demos, where you can make demo CDs, but you can make demo vinyls and possibly hand them out at gigs or something at the end of the show. That way it depends on how long it takes to make one. I can't imagine them sort of going, yep, just wait there, I'll just put this on cut now. There you go, sir. But it'd probably take, I'd say, a certain amount of time to be able to create one. So at least they can stockpile in a way and be able to produce things without having to deny people access to them. Limited runs will become a bit more accessible. But at the other side of it, I'm thinking about car boot sales. People will be able to, crank off their own copy of a particular Beatles record that's been lost for years and then put that at the bottom of the car boot sale and flog it for 50 or 60 quid, and people will happily pay it, despite the fact it doesn't really have the
sleeve,
the value, or well, it might. You could reprint the sleeve, but it'll take people to have to now start investigating, and you won't be able to just grab a record and go, wow.
No. 140 grams it weighs, which is twice the weight of an average human being. So you're not going to be able to put this in your bedroom. It may be a garage. I suppose Teenage Engineering have done their research on this and they think it's worth making, but it really, really also depends on how much it costs, and they're not saying. So I'm going to guess. I guess at a cost. I'm going to go for $5,000.
Yeah, probably that sounds about right. It doesn't actually mention what method it uses to store the music, or what if you put a USB into it, or if it downloads directly from the internet. Like, could you hook it up to a Spotify playlist and then hit go and it'll start to write the Spotify playlist to it? Because we've all been there where we've put together a playlist, put it on, gone to burn it to CD, and gone, oh no, it's too big. Right, I need to remove song number 24. And that's brought it down to 23, we can fit that on. Start burning. And your beautifully curated playlist now doesn't fit on the CD, but it does if you lose a couple of tracks. Be interesting to see what happens. It's a striking looking machine as well. It's the kind of thing you want to have sitting in the side of your office or whatever, with a wee cupboard underneath for you to be able to store, I don't know, records in, blank records.
Yeah, fascinating idea, and it looks really, really fun and attractive. And if it was not stupidly expensive, which I expect it to be, it would be great to have one for the fun factor.
Quite right. Okay, moving into the Lenovo Tab Plus Gen 2. We have the Tab Plus, don't we?
I've got
I
one,
have
yeah.
one. My son uses it, and it's a multimedia focused Android tablet that puts a pretty heavy emphasis on the audio quality because it's got a Bluetooth speaker built into the back of it. It's got a 2K display. It performs quite nicely. It hasn't got the best processor in the world, but the battery is quite good too. This new version is going to have a 9-speaker JBL audio system, which seems like a bit of overkill for a portable device, with a 2.5K LCD with 120 Hz refresh rate. It's got support for Dolby Vision and HDR10, which is pretty fabulous if you ask me. It's powered by a MediaTek Dimensity 7400 chipset, and it should be coming in a few different flavours with 6GB, 8GB and 12GB of RAM alongside 128GB of storage or 256. There's a micro SD card for those who need it, and a 10,200 milliamp hour battery. Anything you want to add to that, Ted?
No, except that it comes with a lovely pouch thingy that you hang over your shoulder. Actually, I'm not sure that it does come with that. You might have to buy that separately. It's called a Lenovo Sleeve Suite. You may want to get one if you plan it to carry around. Yeah, so it looks like it's an optional extra. 370 quid though. I will buy one, except because I love the whole idea of that speaker on the back, and around the speaker it's got a kickstand, so you can pull that out and then stand it either horizontally, landscape or portrait, and that speaker sounds like it's going to be an absolute blast. The Dimensity 7400 is perfectly decent and good enough, and as you say, better than the first generation that we both have got access to. And I would be getting this now, except that this GSM Arena page is linking to the UK website, and when you try to go, it's there now. When I went there yesterday, that was just looping back, and you couldn't do anything with this page at all. In fact, I still can't click on anything. Can you click on the Buy Now button on that page? Because I don't seem to be able to do so. As soon as I go to the page, it's unresponsive. So maybe that's
Select your specs.
So maybe that's some sort of Chrome issue that I'm suffering with. But as soon as I go to these Lenovo home pages, the whole thing just freezes up. And I've gone to my U-Block Origin Lite, whatever it's called, and I put no filtering on that. There shouldn't be anything in the way of me, so I'm going to have to use a different browser to get to it. So now that I've seen that it's actually available to buy, I'm going to probably be leaping in to get one. I really, really fancy this, and I want to get one. Yes.
Okay, well, I've put one in my cart. There are 2 versions you can pick off of here. It says limited stock. Buy now. There's a 128GB version, which is $369, or the 256 version, which is $419. There is only 8GB available, and if I put that into the cart, does it allow me to buy that cute little case? Because I'm just noticing the case has a little space for the pen, accessories, and monitors.
I don't understand why I can't do this. I'm going to open up Firefox. Try again.
I can buy the sleeve for the first gen. Oh, it says Gen 2 on it, but it's the same as the one that they had for the first gen, which was like a folio case you could slip it into.
Right.
But yes, it's a lovely looking device. I initially I thought that case looked horrible, but blowing it up and having a look at it, it is actually really swish the way the stylus fits into that, and there's a flap that goes over, and the speaker. You open the flap and it exposes the speaker, so you can play some music without having to get the tablet fully out.
Nice.
It's kind of funky.
It's done the same in Firefox. It opens up the page and it's initially responsive, and then if you wait for a few seconds, all the buttons just become unresponsive. So I've got to the buy now page, and then I've waited too long, clearly, and I can't click on the add to cart button because everything's gone unresponsive. And that's in
I tell you what,
That's in Firefox.
I'm using a VPN, so I'm currently connected through Ireland, if that helps.
Yes.
But I'm connected to the GB store.
Yeah, this
But
is
perhaps Irish people just have more access to GB store than
this is
English.
this is the GP store. I'll go back and try again in Chrome. Add to cart. And then add to cart. If I'm quick enough, that goes through, and then it goes to a dead page where you can't click on anything any longer. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it must just be whatever server you're connecting to, whereas I'm connecting through a different server. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be something I can't buy then.
well, that's Lenovo's loss. Not that Lenovo really care, I think, too much about things. I can't work out how Lenovo sell things. They just do this sort of limited run and chuck it out there. Sometimes they do it cheap. Like, I bought that Lenovo Legion Go S a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was on sale and it was dirt cheap. Have you seen the price of it now? It's gone
No.
through the roof.
Is it?
It's like they decided, right, okay, well, let's have a big sale before we ramp up the price. And I got lucky. I have to admit it. I did. I got very, very lucky with that.
Right.
Dead chuffed.
Well,
Anyway,
there you go.
moving on. The reason you might not be seeing it is because the UK government is not letting you see it. It's possible because the UK government will implement new rules as of spring 2027 to protect children under 16 from harmful online content and features by banning social media and restricting high-risk functions on other online services, which is frustrating. Everyone is getting hammered because of this. So the social media ban, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook and X will be banned for users under 16. Now, I've got a son who is 13 and he's very into his YouTube. He's not into TikTok or any of that kind of crap, but he loves his YouTube. Alternative access. Children can still access educational content, news, games and messaging services for family/friends communications, which is going to be somehow brought into this. They haven't said how they're doing all of this. They just have a dream list, and they have suggested it's going to be operating system based, and it's going to be an app that maybe needs to be downloaded to install on your device, which is utterly bonkers. I don't know how they're going to do that across all different operating systems and devices, but they seem to think that they will be able to. Age verification is going to be a thing. Multiple methods, including facial recognition, will be implemented to verify age, which is great because that's worked wonderfully in the past. The first regulations will be laid out at the end of 2026, with changes effective in spring of 2027, as I said earlier. It's a bit nuts to do this. They're investing 132.5 million into doing this, just to stop kids from getting on and for them to work out how to circumvent the rules. I don't know if the UK government is particularly clued in here, but kids are smart, and whenever it comes to technology, when it comes to computers and things, kids are smarter than adults, and they've got the time to be able to go and investigate, and they discuss things. They've got these things called classrooms where they all sit together and they plot. They come up with ideas of how to do things. They show each other how to get round things, regardless of whether or not it's good, bad, or indifferent. You know, they can get access to it. And whenever they outline this whole idea of social media, what is social media? You know, who has actually sat down and written out the qualifying criteria for social media? One thing that sticks at the back of my brain is Steam. Is Steam social media? It's got a messaging platform that you can talk to your friends. You can, I don't know if you can video. I think that they keep that for Discord and things like that. But you can contact your friends through that, and you can have profiles and all those sorts of things on Steam. So is that going to fall under this social media ban? Have all the games that my son purchased through Steam just become completely unusable until he is over 16? You know, we need a bit more information, Mr. Starmer, before you can go ahead and start before we start doing this. What do you think, Ted? Any thoughts? Any concerns?
I'm not quite sure why the list of social media platforms is so small, because if they're going to do this, then they need to do it with everyone, don't they? With everything. And I was telling you a few weeks ago now the fact that I stumbled into, for example, on Mastodon, some kind of what's it called? Not manga, the other one, the naughty
Anime?
the naughty Japanese.
Hanatai.
I can't remember what it's called now, but anyway,
Begins with an H.
The Japanese animation that's lewd and dodgy, and I just checked. But while I knew we were going to talk about this today, I just went back there to check, and sure enough, it's still there and it's still serving it up. So Mastodon clearly is outside the loop, and then you've got things like Tumblr, which we've spoken about before as well. Now, if you read through the kind of what was said in the government's speech about this, they are acknowledging. They said that they know that kids are going to get round it. They know that there's VPNs out there. They know all that. But is that I think the quote was that, is that a reason not to try? Is that a reason not to make effort to, even though we know that kids will find ways around this? Is it a way in which, you know, is it because we know that, should we not even bother doing this? And the result, the answer to their question for themselves was, yes, we should still do it, even though we know that. They did talk about banning VPNs at one time. I didn't hear anything more about that, which would be even more difficult, I'm imagining.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And I also posed the question about what would happen to people like me, for example. Do I need to, next spring, be giving all my, my identity check and my face recognition thing to everyone out there? And apparently, according to this government guideline sheet, it says many adults won't need to do checks because they've already got an account that has been open for more than 16 years. So my Google account I opened in 2004. So that's 22 years ago. So in theory, because I've got a Google account with a credit cards and debit cards in my Google wallet, then it also says if you have a credit card connected to that account, then I shouldn't be banned from looking at YouTube. That's as I understand it. Or if it's linked to an email address, that's age verified in other ways. So, for example, my TikTok account is linked to my Google account, because I sign in with Google's sign-in procedure. So I'm figuring that I should still be able to use my TikTok account because it's linked to an email address that's age verified. So anyway, nobody, as you said earlier, nobody really knows quite how this is going to work. But to be honest, if I have to do face recognition stuff just to use TikTok, then I'll just stop using TikTok. I can't be bothered. Or, as you said, just use a VPN and do the same thing that all of the kids in classrooms are going to do anyway. I don't know. What do you think about the fact that, what they're saying about because we know that they're going to get round it, should we not bother anyway?
Well, no, I absolutely applaud what they're trying to do. There's just no easy way to do it because of the way that it is. You can't thinking of an analogy of a field, you can't secure a field from people getting into a field without having to build brick walls around it and putting in turnstiles or gates. And that's going to upset everyone who enjoys looking at the field. That's the problem that you have here. Where you cite the example of TikTok and Google, you can use TikTok if your Gmail is over 18 years old or 16 years old. There's a bit of GDPR in there, in that Google can't tell TikTok how old your email address is. They can't tell any personal information to TikTok under GDPR. So that flies in the face of that. And I suppose they could ask if you're all right sharing that, but Google's not going to put in the infrastructure to have to facilitate that, because it's going to cost them money more so than actually make them money. And most of them don't seem to really care too much about whether or not kids use their platforms or not, because they're in the business of personal information, and if they can get information on someone from day one throughout their entire life, then they want it, and that's all they care about. The government is trying to interject here and protect kids from this, and at its heart it is a good idea. At its heart it's something that we should all be behind, but they just haven't got the right people dealing with this, because it is an impossible task, and no matter what they do, it's not going to be right, and it's going to be easily exploitable. What was it they did the other year? The UK identity thing, where they were starting to bring veterans and stuff in to try and get them to take on the age checks or online verification, and the ID card, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a digital ID. Sorry, yes, my brain's catching up with me there. And they had to do a U-turn on that because it got hacked, big style. And Discord was one of the people, or one of the companies that really bit that off and tried to make that enforced on their platform, because they were such a big kid-rich social network, if you like, platform, and they had to do this, and they ended up paying the price and got all kinds of whiplash from that, because they were hacked, and a huge amount of personal information was leaked online, and it was their own fault, but they were just doing what they were pretty much guided by the government to do. So the government hasn't got a clue what they're doing. They're opening themselves up to attack from all over the show. They're employing companies, the companies out in India who are they're not unscrupulous. They're unsafe, because they're not going to really look after our details to the best of their ability. It's just a contract to them. It's a bit of work to them. So, it's a nightmare. And I think he's making these announcements because he knows he's already on thin ice as it is, and he needs to be seen to be doing something. So he's going after big name policies, or big ticket policies that the voters kind of want, but those who are a wee bit more clued in, or those who do a bit of reading about things, can see that it's untenable. Some of the things that I've said now are probably incorrect, but it's information out there that I have gleaned off the internet, and I think that's things are somewhat important, and everything needs to be thought about and considered before they start announcing things like this, because in the end it's going to be a false promise, or another missed deadline where they've done another U-turn on something that is potentially going to win them votes in the long run. Anyway, any other things you want to add to that, or?
I'm just trying to work out why WhatsApp and Signal are not going to be included. I suppose it's because they don't have scrolling, you know, feeds. They're all personal contact based with Signal and WhatsApp. It's just, I mean, you could easily set up a WhatsApp group where you stuffed loads of porn in it or whatever, and that becomes the new feed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they do seem to be specifically removing things that are not feed based. I think that's what it is.
Well, I think it's also platform based, where it's the amount of users on a particular platform.
Right.
Signal and WhatsApp are more messaging apps. They don't quite have that social network encompassing information and storage position. And also, WhatsApp and Signal are both encrypted, not end to end, but they've got some sort of encryption. So, you know, they can't really do anything about that. But, you know, where YouTube has a front end that you can log in and update your profile and all that kind of stuff and add content that way. So, yeah, it is a social network, and that's why I think Steam is too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of young people using Steam because it's games. That's what young people love, computer games.
Mm-hmm. Well, be interesting to see what happens, won't it? Next spring.
Next spring, one to dread. But we should get a better outline just in time for Christmas, for us all to give off by then. Microsoft Teams, another social network. Microsoft Teams is launching a new feature that automatically updates user work locations when they are connected to Office Wi-Fi networks, raising privacy concerns for hybrid work environments. This is a bit of an interesting thing that whenever you look at Teams, the amount of stuff that's in the background. I watched an interesting video on what your boss can see through Teams for what you're doing. And it made me quite curious about, you know, I work for the government, so I'm not too worried about people watching what I'm doing. But where you're in a smaller company that's using Teams, because it's a great managing service for employees to engage with each other and be able to store things online, and it works nicely with OneDrive and all that. I have to say that it is a really good piece of software, but in behind the scenes, where the manager can actually tap in and have a look at what you're doing and when you're doing it, it does give them a huge amount of information on their employees. And there's more that it can hand over as well, where it can provide real-time visibility into employee locations for hybrid team coordination, and this could disrupt quiet workspaces if it notifies the boss when users connect to office Wi-Fi. So Ted, you've been using Teams a bit but you don't work in an office environment, so it's not really going to affect you.
No, not professionally. I think the story here is that what's new is that there's a thing called workplace check-in via Wi-Fi. So I think what this means is that if you go down to your local coffee shop or you go to the cinema and you think you're going to be able to just make it look as though you're still at work or still at home doing work, then this will no longer allow that, because it will tell your employer that you're not at home, you're in this other Wi-Fi zone, which might be at the local, as I say, cinema or even brothel or whatever else it might be, you know.
Do we still have those?
You could be anywhere, and I think that's what's being changed here. And I've got a feeling, you know, they did this with Skype, didn't they? You know, when we had COVID on rampaging, I've got a feeling when Skype was the thing before Microsoft Teams, we might even have had this very same talk on this very show about the fact that the same thing happened with that. And perhaps it's just come round to Teams, that what they started in Skype. But no, it doesn't. It doesn't worry me. It doesn't impact me at all. But it does seem to be. But you see, on the other hand, if you were an employer am trying to keep track of the productivity, and you'd want to know if someone was duping you and going down to the local brothel and pretending to be working, wouldn't you? So you can see it from both sides. You think, well, actually,
Would you get much work done?
But you see, you've spoken to me about days that you work from home, and it what this system doesn't understand is very often that people's work is task based, and it's completion of task based, not time and clocking in and clocking out. So if you decide that you want to do this task in half the time that's been allowed for it, then that's up to you. Then you go down the beach, and that suddenly cuts out that whole side of it. It's like you've got to clock in now and clock out and show where you are for that whole time. But I don't see. Anyway, you're probably more qualified to talk about this than me, obviously.
Well, it's different now. I did use Teams as part of my job last year, but thankfully I've moved on to a different area now where we have Teams, but it's not used at all. In fact, it doesn't automatically open on my computer anymore, whereas it used to. It would boot up as soon as you logged into your computer, and you'd be able to get messages, and it would always create a little bit of animosity amongst the team because, say, for example, you're sitting watching a training video or something like that, and you click away from it. Teams in the background is saying that you're away.
Right.
You're like, well, I'm not away. I was watching a video. I was doing part of my training for fire or something like that. And people can be asking questions, where is that person? And then you've got the whole side of things where you look at your manager and go, haven't you got anything better to be doing than watching people to see if they're online or not, or if they're away? Do you not have enough work? But it's that whole thing, and people try to work Teams to suit themselves, but not actually knowing that behind the scenes of Teams is this massive stats and analytics of what all of the people in the teams are doing. And it's actually scary, the amount of things. There is a Microsoft 365 roadmap that has improvements aimed at enhancing workplace productivity. These sort of features were announced back in October of 2025, but they've been delayed due to additional privacy controls that are being rolled out as well. So it should be interesting going forward to see what happens with this. And this is all Microsoft, and certain governments in the world, like for example the French, have moved away from Microsoft and Google because they are American companies, and American companies are taking that information and using it. France is using Visio, I think it is now, which is their own Linux-based hand-built system for government employees to work off of, with spreadsheets and word processors and things like that they're using themselves, so that they can handle their own data and capture their own information that they want, and not just hand everything out to one of the big tech giants. And I think a lot of other countries need to be doing that as well. And I can't imagine Britain doing that, because the whole idea of them actually delivering a computer system that is effective and useful is going to be deeply unlikely.
Denmark,
the Euro office
Denmark have done it.
Yeah.
And also some American states have done it as well. But that doesn't pick up on private companies, does it? As you say, that's just government.
No.
Private companies is something else. But there's also the question, what about this remote access thing? So you put your laptop in your house and you put a mouse moving thing on it so it looks like you're doing something. And then you access it by another device down at the brothel, which is using remote access, and you can see what's going on with your computer that's sat at the house. I'm sure there must be ways around it.
Well, there is, but I think most work computers are locked down, that you can't install software unless they officially sanction it. I was really excited because I noticed that GIMP is available for my laptop, my work laptop, and I've installed that. So whenever I get a bit of time that I don't have to do anything and I'm in the office, I can sit and brush up on my GIMP skills, which is it's like a Photoshop thing for Linux and Windows, but it's a free and open source thing. But that's a useful task or a tool to have, and it whiles away some boring hours whenever you're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. I suppose the question is about what I said earlier, really, about productivity versus timekeeping, and whether you judge your employees' work based on their productivity, or whether you just want to see them sat there at between 9 and 5 doing what they're supposed to do.
True. Well, we'll move on to another Windows-related story, because Microsoft has a new media player for Windows 11, and it's drawing quite a bit of negative feedback due to significantly higher memory consumption and restricted codec capabilities compared to legacy versions. And I think it's one of the best adverts for VLC in quite a few years. But then, of course, it's one of those things that, on a work computer, you can't install VLC openly. There's a performance impact where the startup time is increased by approximately 50% from 2 to 3 seconds, which is really fast. Microsoft's strategy appears to be to replace both Groove Music and the classical media player with the new one for Windows 11. Windows Media Player has always been a bit contentious, hasn't it? I remember back in Vista whenever it first arrived, and people were like, "Ooh, very nice," and then they would get rid of that and install Windows Media Player Classic back from, given the look of Windows 95 and 98 and ME. The classic Windows Media Player remains available, but is not the default anymore, so it's important to point that out. And most people are just saying, screw it, just use VLC instead, because it doesn't have any codec issues at all, and it's lightning fast, which is absolutely true. Ted, what do you use for media?
On my Windows computer, I tend to use Plex. But I have got VLC installed, and I do use that. And I've tried things like Media Monkey, and I've tried all sorts of things.
Media Monkey, wow.
All sorts of platforms and stuff, and Power Amp, and there's all sorts of options that you can try. But actually, I cannot remember how long it's been since I used Windows' own media player. It's decades. I've never looked at it. And that Groove thingy, I did actually try that Groove thingy when it first came out, and it was just crap. And you're absolutely right. Things are just so much better in other applications, and I don't know why anyone would want to use Windows. I've just opened my Windows Media Player, and it's obviously not the new one yet, because it's just the same, I think, as the old one. So I don't know. This is just like not the fact that it takes more time to open and uses more RAM. It's like, well, so what? Don't use it. I think you were right at the outset. Just use something else.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I used Media Player. Given that I'm completely entrenched in Linux, it has been a number of years. But I suppose I do have it on my work laptop, and it pops up every now and again whenever I need to watch something. I did like Media Player back in the day. I always remember it being a fairly good-looking piece of software. I'm just looking at old pictures of it now, and what I remember from Vista, Windows 7, that kind of era. And it does look nice, and they put a lot of effort into it. And Microsoft did. Back then, they used to make all these really great little tools, like
Pinball,
Windows Movie Maker, Pinball, yeah. And Live Writer came up in a conversation I was having with someone recently. It was an old blogging tool that allowed you to connect to various online blogging tools or self-hosted ones, and you could write yourself a a web blog through an actual piece of software, but they got rid of that pretty quick. I always liked it.
Yeah,
That's
that
where I
sounds really
first
interesting.
started. Yeah. So yeah, well, maybe we could bring Hark back in and talk about it then. But yes, it's a bit sad to hear this, and dropping codec support is bad, because then you have to purchase codecs through the Windows Marketplace that nobody's
Really?
going to do,
Good
to be
grief.
honest. Whenever VLC packages them all in, and you can go
Yeah.
on to, oh, what was that? The big codec packs you used to be able to download. Was it LMA or something like that, or KDM, or I can't remember. And there was a website you went to, and you could get small, medium, or large codec packs, and download and configure to your heart's content of all these codecs. And I'd always go for the super one, and it would just be able to play everything that you threw at it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking that my default, on reflection, it does tend to be Plex. At least when I'm in the house, it is. If I'm accessing, yeah, I think.
No, but if you download a video, or from online, let's not go into what video it is you're downloading, and you want to play it back on your computer locally, Plex is not going to really do that for you, because it's going to be looking for a movie. But if you were to watch a funny video that someone sent to you through an email, and you download it and open it, would you open that in Windows Media Player, or I'm trying to think, or VLC?
Yeah, VLC. So the situation you're just describing, my Windows computer for MP3s and for MBAs and MKVs and MP4s, the default is for VLC. Yeah, absolutely right.
Right, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
VLC is the way forward for most. There was a while when I had trouble with VLC on Windows, and I ended up using a different I think it was one of the Media Player Classics, or MPC or something like that it was called, Media Player Classic 4 or something. Yeah.
Right.
I really liked it. And you can get plugins and add-ons for it too. All right, banter. Got a bit of banter, because we're going back to a topic that we discussed before, where Microsoft are ending support for Office 2021 and pushing for Microsoft 365. On October 13th of 2026, they're forcing users to migrate their subscription to models of the newer versions of Microsoft Office. And this is specifically for Mac-based people, wasn't it, Ted? There's been development since then.
Yeah, the report in last week's show was that they were killing off Office 2019 for anyone that's got it on Mac. Well, not killing it off, but making it really limited in what you could do with it, and to try and push people into 365. This new one is about Windows users, Microsoft Windows users, and Office 2021. So that basically they're doing the same thing, pushing people into 365, or at the very least by going and buying Office 2024. But they don't want you to do that, really. They want your monthly money. That's the thing. And we live in a subscription age, and Microsoft are doing the same thing. So yeah, I think that's the story here.
Right. Okay. Well, it's Microsoft's decision really does reflect the company's broader strategy to really push up their subscriptions for Office 365 and monetize it through subscription services rather than one-time purchases.
Indeed.
It's deeply saddening, and they're cutting off people who have bought things. You can still buy Office 2021. I had a look at our Reddit feed before the show, and I saw that someone had just bought it last week, and now they've been given a notification to say that they'll not be able to save their work. And they're furious, and it's like, well, what do I do? I don't have I think they should be able to get some sort of money back if they take it back, because they shouldn't have been sold it. But if it's still on sale,
And somebody,
what's going to happen now?
When I posted the story in the group this week in MeWe, somebody jumped in and said, I'm still using Microsoft Office 2010 and it works perfectly well, thank you very much. But you see, what it's not doing and what these things won't do is to go and get security updates. And what Microsoft is saying is that that makes it unsafe to use. Now, how unsafe it is and what you're vulnerable to in terms of security patching not being, or rather security not being patched up, whether you're going to get attacked by someone, how often does anyone get a virus infected into their computer because Microsoft Office, whatever year it was, is out of date? Perhaps they do. I don't know. I never hear about it.
Well, actually, this kind of story and us talking about it highlights that, because hackers now will be able to go, oh, right, okay, so there could be vulnerabilities coming up in Office 2021. So we'll be able to attack those. You know, they say that if you take Windows 98 onto the internet without any significant protection or whatever now, you will be attacked almost immediately.
Right.
Because it is so well known. Mm-hmm. I don't know how truthful that really is, how they're going to know that this IP address is using that, but there must be some sort of signature that they can pick up on. Mm-hmm. So where there is a vulnerability, and Microsoft, it works in their favour to be able to get this news bigger and better, because they're not going to do a U-turn on it. They're going to just carry on with it, and that means that people are going to be more aware that you need to get with Microsoft 365, and you don't really have many other options other than going and getting OpenOffice or LibreOffice or using Google Docs, which are not as widely supported as Microsoft's tool set, or I can't remember what they're called, Excel spreadsheets.
Right, yeah. I personally, I think that 365 is worth it for me, particularly as I don't pay for it, because the magazine I do and the editor for, they pay for it for me. But to be honest, if they didn't, I still might have it. One thing, they've now let you openly record Microsoft Teams calls, which is really useful for our podcasting activities. If you don't pay them for that, then you at best get limited to an hour's recording, and they'll probably take away that soon as well. The only thing that's really annoying is the whole publisher thing, which I've banged on about before, and I've got to find a workaround for that. But I think it's quite reassuring to have 365, and even though it's kind of a bit Big Brotherish, but if someone else is paying, then I suppose it makes the equation a bit different, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. You bought something. What did you buy?
The backdrop to this is that I wanted a note-taking solution for my desk to be on one side, and I could use pen and paper, but frankly, I wouldn't have a place in Tech Addicts then. So, actually, I could use pen and paper and then photograph the screen and then put it into Keep or OneNote or something and have it digitized. And so there are ways around it. But I thought to myself, I've got a perfectly good Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 here. And the main thing I don't like about it is that it doesn't feel anything like writing on paper. And so I went off and I investigated this, and I was encouraged to try this thing called Bellimond Magnetic Kent Paper Screen Protector for Samsung Galaxy tablets. And so for the princely sum of about 15 quid, I think it was, I sent off for this, and I put it on the front of my tablet, and sure enough, it really does work. Now, just to add into this, you've got to make sure that you get some different tips for your pen, because the S Pen that came with the tablet, apparently, if you use the tip that's on it, which is designed for glass, this screen will just kind of wear it down, and it just won't work after a while. So I also went and ordered some tips, a pack of 15 pen tips for about another £5 or something. And so I was able to put the tip inside the end of the pen, and it works as it should do with this screen protector on. Anyway, the long and the short of this is, it really does work ever so well. It is like writing on paper. We're going to talk later on about these standalone solutions like Remarkable and like and like books devices and even the Kindle Scribe. And apparently some of those are really good at making it feel like pen on paper, or rather pencil on paper or pen on paper. And that's great and that's fine. But then you've got to pay more than I've paid for this screen thingy and these pen tips. And the outcome is that it works incredibly well. It does feel very much like writing on paper, and I'm very impressed with it. So I can now use Samsung Notes as the kind of baseline. Samsung Notes is also now available for Windows, so I can get the stuff across and out and easily to my computer. Although you do get a warning saying, you still get a warning coming up saying, this was designed for Samsung PCs. It may not work properly, but it does work properly. It's fine. So all of that, again, encouraging people to be ecosystem centric and live in the Samsung world in this case. But anyway, my report really, my bought report is that I bought these two things for under 20 quid, and they work brilliantly well, and it's completely given me the solution I wanted to, and very, very impressed indeed.
Yeah, that it sounds almost unbelievable. It feels like paper, or like you're writing on paper.
It feels like you're writing on paper, yeah. Not. It does. If you put your finger over it, it just feels like it's a kind of roughness to the texture. But when you put the pen on it with the new nib in it, that makes it feel like very much like writing on paper, yeah.
And I take it doesn't affect the screen at all. So if you're watching a movie or something back, it doesn't. You don't see it there. It's completely transparent.
Yeah, it is transparent. It's got a slight. If you take it off, the thing to do it's magnetic, so it sticks on. The Samsung Galaxy tablets must have magnets top and bottom in the bezels, because on the edge of this top and bottom it just sticks on the front. So the trick would be to take the thing off when you want to do other things with it, but when you want to use it as a writing tool, you put the thing back on. It just jumps on in nanoseconds, and you're away. I suppose the only thing then is that you've got to be careful not to use the pen on it, because otherwise you'll scratch the glass. So you would need to have a. I happen to have, as well as the pen that came with it, I happen to also have a Samsung Galaxy, a S Pen Pro. So if I want to use it without the thing on, I don't have to change the tips. I just use the Pen Pro. It works really well. But
nice.
Probably not a huge amount more to say about it, to be honest. It just seems to work, and really, really easy to take on and off. And it's also future-proofed. So at the top of the screen, where there's a cutout for the camera, it not only has the size for the one camera on my one, but it's also got the a wider thingy so that you can use it on the Tab S10 and 11 and all that, because they've got more up the top there. So it's future proof. So when I eventually ditch this Tab S8 and buy a Tab S something newer, it'll still work beautifully. I didn't know that it had magnets in the bezels. You obviously did. I've never tried to put anything on it or anything.
Yeah, that's why the folio covers that you get stay closed.
Yeah, but that wouldn't need it on the other side, would it?
No, but you can also put your S Pen on the side of the tablet while you're using it. There's a magnet in there that the S Pen sticks to.
On the
It
side?
can stick to the back. Yeah, you can mount your S Pen on the side of your tablet.
Can you?
While you're using it, so it's always there in.
But my tablet's got a thing on the back that's got a magnet. That's where the pen lives, on the back, next to the camera.
Mine does too, but if I'm using the pen, I can take it and just click it to the side
Oh,
of the
right.
tablet.
Okay,
So,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Which one have you got?
Like,
The 10?
yeah, or is it the 9? I can't remember.
Okay.
I think it's
This
the 9. Yeah.
my Tab S8 is now out of OS update, so Android 16 was the last. It's not going to get Android 17. And the security is going to run out, I think, in about 9 months' time. So I will eventually probably need to update it.
Dreadful. Well, you never know. Graphene OS might be out by then. All right, we'll move into the bargain basement where we've got loads because Prime Day is coming and we've got some pre-Prime Day or early Prime Day deals. And we'll start with one of those because I've been looking at these thinking, ooh, maybe I should. Actually, I went to buy one of these last month and thought, oh my goodness, they don't have any. Because all across the show, none of these were for sale. I couldn't find a good portable power station anywhere. This is the EF EcoFlow Delta 3 Max. It's a 2048 watt hour Life PO4 battery. And then it says it's a 2400 watt X boost output. I don't know too much about these, but it's one of those big things that you can plug it like a solar panel up to and keep it charged up. And I want to get one of these to be able to plug my NAS into so that if the power goes out, I have time to be able to come and turn the NAS off. And then one day get a solar panel that goes into it. It was £1,199 and it's down in the early Prime Days deal to £759, which I think is a damn good price. There are bigger, better versions of it. There's the Delta Max Plus that is bigger, I think. It's got a plus on it, which is nicer, I suppose. But yeah, you can plug four 3-prong plugs into this and a few USBs on the front as well. So it'll cover you for what you need to do. And I quite fancy one of these. What do you think, Ted? Would you want one of these?
Yeah, they're always useful for when the power goes out. The question is, as we've discussed before with Steve Litchfield, who's the kind of the one that knows all about. He's looked into this really highly. The question is whether what it will keep going and for how long, and how much power is in it. And Anker sell these Solix ones that are basically a trolley on wheels, and they're going to keep everything going for I don't know, days. But when you downsize from that kind of thing, you've got to just be careful about how useful it is the point. Will it, what will it keep going and for how long? And you've obviously done your homework on that, so recommended.
Well, 2,400 watts out is pretty good, and it should keep my little NAS going and a couple of other things around it. Router and mini PC. That'll do.
Okay, cool. Right, my first one is the Motorola Razr 60 Ultra, which has been reduced from the RRP of 1099 to 799. This reduction was implemented across many of Lenovo websites, but not for the UK for quite a long time. And eventually it's kind of come down to the UK. And they're also offering me 160 quid for 5 months. But your mileage may vary on that one. I've already got one, so I don't need one. But anyone else, the Razr 60 Ultra really is a flagship phone. It's not an excuse for a flagship phone because people want a flip phone. It's actually a flip phone that is a flagship phone. It's really, really powerful and well specified. So even at 800 quid, I still think it's worth it. But I suppose most people will be going for the 70 Ultra, although I don't think there's much difference really. Right, that's it. I've finished now. Your turn.
It's a good looking phone, actually. It really is, and it's a good price for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the colours are nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, the Ugreen Nexode 140 watt 25,000 milliamp hour laptop power bank is down in price from £80 to £50 for people in the mainland, English kniggets. Us little Northern Ireland types, we're too handsome for this. That's the official line. This is for ugly people, Us handsome people don't get these. It's a good looking power bank, big too, and it's got 140 watt max output. One of the USBs, and then there's the C2 does 65 watts max output, and then the USB A does 22.5 watt max output. So it's got you covered for whatever you need to use it for. I want one of these for my Lenovo Legion so I can charge it on the go.
I wonder how long this will keep your fridge going.
For a minute, maybe two.
Okay, another phone from me. It's the Xiaomi 17, the 512 12GB version, reduced from 999 to 749. I don't like Xiaomi, what they do with the software, and it's not the OS for me. But I know lots of other people that disagree and love Xiaomi, and this is the smaller one, 6.3-inch screen, which is really nice. I have to agree. 749 from 999, and again they're offering me 5 months on this, 149.80.
Nice. I got to see someone the other day with a Xiaomi phone. I was a bit shocked. You don't see them in the wild very often, but obviously people do buy them. There are little collections of people here, there, and everywhere, dotted about. Yeah. And he seemed to be quite chuffed with his. Indeed. Taking pictures of a bush. Yeah. Corsair next. The Corsair CX750 80 Plus. This is a bronze non-modular low noise ATX power supply. The reason why I went looking is because I was in Screwfix last week, and when I was waiting for the door handle mechanism, the latch thing inside it, to come out, the guy on the cash register or the computer screen, he was talking to me and bragging about how he built his own computer, and we got to talking about computer builds, and he asked what power supply I have in it because his wasn't working, and I thought, wow, my power supply, it's got to be about 10, maybe even 15 years old. It's a Corsair CX 1000, and it's been going for a long time. I know I shouldn't say that out loud, but I went looking to see what kind of price I could get a replacement if I were to need one. And this popped up because it's down from, it's only £58 down to £56.30. But for a 750 watt power supply with the Corsair brand, which I have to say I would buy again because the one I've got is a good one that's lasted a good long time. It's probably going to pop on me now just because I'm talking about it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is a good looking option. It doesn't have all the mod comms that you're getting now with I think it's a straight up modular connection on the back. It doesn't come out the side or anything for tidiness or cable management or anything like that. It's just to the point, 750 watts, way you go. Low noise, very nice.
Very nice indeed. Okay, we're back on power again with Anker this time, and this is the Anker Prime 250 watt unit that we were talking about probably 18 months ago now when it first came out, and it was always like 170 quid. The lowest I think we used to see it would drop down to 150 or something on a Prime Day, but this is an early Prime Day deal and it's down to 109.99, and we were both kind of lusting after this and wishing that we had one and wanting to have the need for one, I think, at the time. But anyway, yeah, this is the cheapest. I think it's the cheapest I've probably ever seen it, 109.99. And yeah, it's got kind of intelligent stuff going on. It's got a screen on the front that gives you information about what's going on, and I do believe I seem to remember you can change that to a clock if you want to. There's various display options to make it desk friendly and desk nice, and loads of ports and plugs and all the rest of it. So yeah, $109.99.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking thing. It looks like a radio alarm clock at the side of your bed.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s or whatever. I was actually in my mum's bedroom the other day and realised that she still has the radio alarm clock that my dad used throughout the 70s, 80s and 90s with wood grain around the side of it.
Hey.
Still going strong with the LEDs, or not LEDs, but the red glowing lights on the front of it. I can't believe it's still working.
Very
and the
nice.
instruction manual's underneath it. Yeah, next up is the Soundcore Boom 3i by Anker. This is a rugged outdoor speaker system with a little strap. It's IP68 rated, and you can throw it around you, take it down to the beach, and party all day. It's down from £100 to $49.99. That's 50% off. Well, it's not actually 50% off, but it's close to. Ted, you probably have one of these, or at least you're going to go and buy one now.
What's interesting is that the salt water resistant, so they're making a point of the fact that you can take it down the beach and not just risk salt water in the air, but chuck it in the sea. There's pictures here of people actually it floating in the sea while they're using it. It does look really rugged, doesn't it? And 16 hours playback time. It's a real kind of camping outdoorsy kind of person's thing, isn't it? And yet again, I wish I had the need for one. It's not that expensive, really. I mean, even at £100, it's comparable probably with others. But £50, yeah, absolute bargain. Nice one.
Yeah, to take away on holiday with you at this time of the year, that's perfect.
Indeed. They're probably knocking out this Soundcore stuff before they rebrand everything to, what is it called? Anchor something. They're taking away the Soundcore, aren't they? So perhaps there'll be some more bargains coming with that badge on them. Right, next up is the Kindle Coloursoft Signature Edition. And this is the bundle that comes with the Wi-Fi, sorry, the Qi charging stand, and also a case, £234, which is basically just over £100 off. And you can get it in all different colours. If you're into that 32GB signature edition, which my dad's got and my mum had, and they really are ever so nice. But they've got and did have the non-colour version. Now, I haven't ever seen a colour Kindle, so I don't know how washed out this screen might be compared to a black and white one. But I have seen a books device which was colour, and I did think that was a bit wishy-washy. But anyway, if anyone wants to risk it and likes their Kindle and fancies a colour one, there's a bit of a bargain going on at the moment. There's also a load of bargains going on with Kindles for kids at the moment, which is Prime Day deals. So if you've got kids you want to buy a Kindle for, check out the links to all of those from that page as well, because they're all kind of a little bit down in price.
Yeah. Kindle's one thing that I can't bring myself to buy.
Yeah, lockdown.
Yeah.
Which brings us nicely to the next one being lockdown.
True. The Remarkable Starter Bundle. This is a Remarkable 2, which is a paper tablet that includes a black and white 10.3-inch writing tablet for reading and writing your stuff. Ted, I think you're kind of interested in these sorts of things and enjoy them a good deal. But it's down in price from £429 to £339.99p.
Yeah, that's nearly £100 off, isn't it? The trouble with Remarkables, though, is that it's locked down. Because I've been looking into this lately and watching lots of videos about these note-taking solutions, and there's no Android on this. There's no Play Store on it. So, and the Remarkable things are really, really good quality, and they work really well. And apparently the pens are superb and all the rest of it. But they're very much a standalone kind of note taking solution, and not kind of very open. Now you can subscribe to Remarkable, and they'll give you, if you subscribe, you can get stuff across to computers, and there's an app for your phone and all the rest of it. But you've got to pay them. I think it's about £4 a month or something to be able to get that. So really, really good quality stuff. But yeah, this is no open OS that a books will be with the Play Store on it.
Oh, I don't like that. No. Right, okay. No, that's not a deal at all. That's selling a subscription. And to be honest, that I think that's false advertising as well, because one of the pictures says all your notes in sync, create, review, and edit notes across all your devices. It doesn't say anything about a subscription plan.
Well, I think you can do some stuff without subscribing, but you can't do. I can't remember the details now, but yeah, it probably isn't false advertising, because you can load the app on the computer and on your phone, but you're just limited as to what you can do, or how much stuff it will hold, or there's some limitation. Yeah.
No, not convinced. Not happy with that. That's not a deal. That's not a bargain. That's giving people a headache. Apologies. There's no match for, I've got a Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 and a Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Isn't it 25? Yeah, this is 26, isn't it? So 25 Ultra.
Right.
And I've got a notebook that I use for all of my notes, and then I've got this little notebook as well, which is a black and red pocketable one that has a wee pen in the side that I keep in the binder, and I use that for writing down all kinds of stuff whenever I'm on the go. So you just can't beat that. I know I can just pull out my stylus and start scribbling away on the screen of my phone, but whenever I go back and have a look at that, it's gibberish, it's garbage, it's not legible, and also in my work environment I can't bring my phone into work, so
And it's not big enough.
can't do much about that.
That's the trouble.
Again?
That's the trouble I find with, because I've got the pen for my Motorola Signature, and I just find that the shape of the screen is all wrong for taking notes on. It's just it's too small. It's not wide enough, and which is exactly why as I was saying earlier, I went looking for this writing solution for my Galaxy tablet. But the books and the Remarkable stuff, they would be all right in that respect, because they're nice and wide and bigger and all the rest of it. But I think that ordinary candy bar style phones are just not that useful for using a pen with, as you found out.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how well you get on with that solution of screen protector-y thing and new nibs. Nothing like some new nibs. All right, well, that'll do us for now. We'll be back same time next week for another star-studded... No, wait, hang on. That's not right. A tech-filled, news headline-packed run round of technology in your lug holes. If you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us. There's Gareth at techaddicts.uk. We are also on X or Twitter at Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. There's also at techaddictsuk, and I sometimes check that. I did check it about 6 weeks ago, and there was nothing there. I have my Mastodon and my Blue Sky, and I have my GarethMiles.com. There's also a link to coffee there if you fancy throwing me a cup of coffee, throwing coffee at me, which isn't generally good. That's probably against health and safety in many ways. Ted, where can they find you?
They can find me at tedsalmon.com. That's where I live when I'm not on MeWe, but I do have links to all the other stuff from there, MeWe groups galore and audio podcasts and all the rest of it. And if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that. It's at paypal.me/Ted Salmon. And I wish you in the coming week, dear listener, a cool time somehow. Go and jump in the sea. I could go and jump in the sea.
Yes, that's one way to deal with it. All right, take care, and we'll speak to you next week. Bye.
Bye.